Zack Snyder's Twilight of the Gods offers a fresh and new approach to Norse mythology. This animated series consists of 8 episodes. It is raw, bloody, and full of entertainment. While the plot is derived from Norse mythology, Snyder has taken some creative liberties to deliver a fun story about a warrior woman who wants to kill Thor. Most of the characters are layered, but due to time constraints and the blood-driven storyline, not everything gets explored. If someone loves Norse mythology, Twilight of the Gods is visually so stunning that you won't want to stop watching. So, let's dive into what happens in this series from Snyder. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like and share the video for more content. Thank you. And with a huge spoiler warning, let's move on. When King Leif first saw Sigrid on the battlefield, he knew right away that this girl was meant for him. Sigrid's courage and determination inspired Leif. He took her to his home, and after spending some time together, Leif announced that he would marry her. Sigrid was from the giant clan, and she wanted to inform her family about the news. Leif happily agreed to go to her home. Sigrid's father, King Glomar, who was the leader of the open-hand giants, hesitated to let his daughter marry a man from another clan. But Leif impressed him by gifting seeds that could help rejuvenate their barren lands. This was to be their wedding dowry. However, just as the marriage was about to take place, Thor arrived and started questioning about Loki. The giants neither feared the gods nor worshipped them, and Thor didn't like the atmosphere there. When the giants claimed they knew nothing about Loki, Thor refused to believe them and unleashed his old rivalry, attacking them one by one. What should have been a day of joy for Sigrid turned into a tragedy. She lost her entire family and was now on a mission for revenge against Thor. Loki offered his help because he too wanted Thor dead. Sigrid gathered companions who were willing to join her in her quest, and they planned to head to Asgard. But to get to Asgard, they needed the help of the Vanir gods. Initially, the Vanir gods refused, not wanting to go against the pact they had made with the Asgardian gods. Leif begged on his knees for help, but it didn't work until Loki whispered something to Sigrid, which piqued the Vanir gods' interest. The Vanir gods, forgotten and abandoned without worship, listened when Sigrid mentioned the apples of immortality. Odin had once stolen these apples from the Vanir gods, which had weakened them, while other gods continued to appear eternally young. King Charn of the Vanir accepted that they wanted these apples, and if Sigrid's group could retrieve them, they would help fight Thor. These apples were guarded by the dragon Fafnir, and stealing them without being noticed was nearly impossible. But Sigrid and her companions accepted the challenge. Anvar, one of her companions, was particularly excited, as Fafnir and Loki had ruined his life, and he wanted revenge. After a fierce battle, they managed to wound Fafnir, and although Anvar could have killed him easily, he spared his life as Fafnir was his kin. However, Leif, thinking it was a mistake, quickly beheaded Fafnir without hesitation, and Anvar did not object. Sigrid handed over the apples to the Vanir gods, but they were cursed. The Vanir gods believed Sigrid and Leif had deceived them and attacked immediately. It was later revealed that Loki had poisoned the apples under Odin's orders. This was all part of Odin's grand plan. Loki then revealed that the entire poisoning was not his idea, it was Odin who ordered him to do so. Loki had a bad reputation, and that's why Odin used him to execute his plan. Sigurd proposed that they all unite to take revenge on Aesir, and Tyr agreed. After swearing a bloody oath, the gods and mortals joined forces to defeat Thor. When Sigurd lost his entire family, Loki allied with him. Loki promised to help him destroy Thor, but it wasn't just sympathy pushing Loki forward. He had personal reasons too. Loki ignited the fire within Sigurd because he knew that if a god like Thor was killed by a mortal, it would become legendary. Thor never forgave Loki for breaking divine rules by mating with a giantess. Thor took Loki's 3 children away, his 2 daughters, Hel and Jormungandr, and his wolf son Fenrir. Jormungandr was cast into the sea, Hel was banished to the underworld, and Fenrir was taken as Thor's pet. Loki could never forgive Odin and Thor for destroying his family, and ever since then he had been plotting revenge. Though Loki was a trickster, and everyone thought he was doing it for fun, deep down he had different emotions. According to the prophecy of Ragnarok, Jormungandr would fight Thor, and both would perish. Loki feared losing his daughter, but Hel and Jormungandr told their father not to interfere because Thor's death would mean their family's liberation. Jormungandr, disguised as an ordinary woman, ensnared Thor. Loki knew this was the beginning of Ragnarok, and the thought of losing his daughter in the battle pained him. Odin summoned Aesir to know his future. He was desperate to find out if the prophecy of Ragnarok was true, whether Thor would die, and if the gods would be remembered forever. The seer demanded a sacrifice for showing the future. The price was Odin's memories. When Odin made the sacrifice, he saw that Thor would be killed by his wolf, Fenrir, and after that, Christianity would reign. Odin foresaw a future where no one would pray to him, and people would build churches to spread Jesus Christ's teachings. This fear of being forgotten drove Odin mad, and he mortally wounded the seer for revealing his future. Odin's tragedy was that even though he saw his end, he couldn't remember anything about it. Meanwhile, the seer's lover, Egil, used blood magic to find her. Once, when she healed his hand, he could feel her presence through his blood, leading him to her. By the time Egil reached her, she was lying on the ground, bleeding out and dying. She died in Eagle's arms, and he screamed in pain. But surprisingly, something magical happened. He witnessed her resurrection. But she was no longer the same seer. She remembered Eagle, but the love she once had for him was gone. Later, Freya told Eagle that she had been reincarnated as Setka, and now possessed Freya's future-seeing powers and Odin's memories. This marked the new union between the Vanir and Aesir. She had become a goddess, and though much had changed quickly, Eagle promised he would always stay by her side. Despite Sigurd's efforts, Thor's powers could not be ignored. Sigurd arrived with an army of mortals and gods, but on the battlefield, Thor dominated. He killed King Tyr with his hammer, shaking the Vanir gods to their core. Sigurd's wolf companion Wolfr couldn't survive either. Nothing could stop Thor, and when he was about to strike Sigurd, Hervor intervened, taking the blow herself. She hoped to reunite with her dead sons in Valhalla and find peace, but unfortunately, her wish was not fulfilled. When the Valkyries arrived to choose souls worthy of Valhalla, Hervor was left behind. Hel explained that this happened because Hervor had used a cursed weapon, and now she had to pay the price. Hel also revealed that Valhalla wasn't what people often thought. It was a place where Odin turned dead souls into his army to gain more power. Sigurd had no choice but to let Hel take Hervor's body to the underworld, where she could rest peacefully without serving any god. Thor's brother and counselor, Baldur, advised Thor not to kill Sigurd, believing Odin hadn't ordered Thor to make Sigurd a martyr. Baldur thought that if Thor spared her, the cycle of wars might end. Thor gave Sigurd one chance to surrender, with only one condition: that she reveal her real name. But Sigurd couldn't forget her family's tragedy caused by Thor. She decided she wanted to create a world where humans were free from gods. She was ready to die, but not to leave the battlefield. Sigurd tried to kill Thor with her spear, but she missed the first time. When she attacked again, aiming to kill Thor as he tried to strike Lif, Baldur stepped in and took the blow, sacrificing his life. His mother, Frigg, had seen her son's death in a dream, but seeing Sigurd's spear, she thought it wasn't strong enough to harm him. However, the mistletoe bound to the spear caused Baldur's death. Thor was devastated by his brother's death and felt lost about how to atone for it. His first instinct was to kill Sigurd, but Freya stopped him. Thor broke down, and Freya took him to Valhalla to cope with his grief. When everyone thought it was over, Twente Loki stabbed Sigurd, freeing her soul to enter Valhalla. Loki showed her a new path to complete her mission, knowing that her story would only be remembered if she became a martyr. Sigurd's struggle wouldn't go in vain. Sigurd was taken to Valhalla, where she met Thor once again. This time, Thor didn't kill her. Instead, he reflected on how people's actions are often controlled by others, hinting that many of Sigurd's decisions were influenced by Loki. Thor, Loki's oldest enemy, wanted Sigurd to realize how dangerous Loki was. Thor said this was the beginning of Sigurd's saga, indicating her significant role in Ragnarok. Will Sigurd take revenge on Thor, or will her heart change? Chances seem slim for her to change. Kona might play a significant role in the next season, as she now sees both the past and future. We don't know yet how Lif will react to the news of Sigurd's death, and whether he'll play a bigger role in the gods' downfall. We hope to get all our answers in the next season and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video, and for now, we're signing off. Goodbye, and I'll be back.